All right, well, that's me. So it just leaves you, Obs. What you got for us?
All right. So as many of you know, I'm a huge fan of the greatest game of all time, Final Fantasy 15. Um,
Oh,
the greatest game that was ever completed a year and a half after the game release is so
yeah.
recently I went back and replayed Final Fantasy 15. It came out initially in late 2016,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly. So yeah, it's been 2.5 years, almost 2.5 years. It was in November, I believe, of 2016. Uh, and the game's, if you kept up with it at all, it had a very rocky development. It took at
10 years,
least 10 years to make. Um,
like in
Nomura,
active development, basically
yeah,
for 10 years.
it was Nomura's project for a while, and then he got moved to Kingdom Hearts 3, which basically it seems to have ruined his life, based on some of the things he said. But um,
Oh,
and
poor
then
Nomura.
yep, and then Tabata caught on and ended up basically keeping a lot of the thematic stuff, but redoing a lot of the story and some of the gameplay. And it had many infamous delays, and which I think led to them kind of going, we kind of have to release it at this point. Like the story around the game being delayed is just like too crippling for us.
Hmm.
I'm sure the Squeenix higher ups were like, we got to get it out, just get it out, and that's why we got the basically the incomplete version of the game. So like I said, I went back and replayed it with a lot of the updates. Some of the stuff I didn't like, story stuff I didn't really notice. But I mean, the big additions to the game are the character DLCs, the episode Gladiolus, episode Ignis, and episode Prompto. They're the three main other party members other than Noctis in the game.
Hmm.
For those who don't know anything about Final Fantasy 15, the gist of the story is that Noctis is the prince of Lucius. An invading empire comes in and basically kills his father
While
while
he's
he's on a
away.
road trip to marry the oracle named Luna Freya, who is was like the princess of a kingdom that the Empire conquered many years ago, and it's supposed to basically be like a peace marriage between the countries. But the Empire comes in, steals the crystal, and Noctis and friends, his party members, have to go get the crystal back. So, um, the the DLC, obviously, since they're named after the characters and focus on the side characters, actually do a lot to kind of flesh out some of the characters' thought processes, because a lot of what you get in the main game is them more playing off of Noctis.
Right.
And
And
it's more about how Noctis feels about them and less how they feel about Noctis, which
or
these
even what's going
DLC.
on. Yeah.
Exactly. And these DLC do a really good job of kind of spinning that around, because
And they got progressively better as they went.
they did. Gladiolus
Yeah.
is the worst one, and Ignis is the best one.
It's kind of almost frustrating that they have had such a jump in quality like that too. Because
Yeah.
I really think that if they had given a full shot from the start and they had been able to do everything from the get go, it could have been way better.
The Gladiolus one is trying to play as an action gamey kind of thing, but
Yeah,
it's still kind of slow and clunky like Final Fantasy 15's combat is.
yeah,
It's a little bit.
God.
It's got a little bit more crunch to it, but not. It's
not
not
enough
nothing
to make up
special.
for it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's not enough to try to force the shift that they want, and I think that kind of might just be marred in the base system that it's utilizing to do all of this in the first place. So
Yeah. So Gladiolus is the King's Shield. He's the big gruff berserker. Like, he uses a great sword and a shield as his other weapon, because he's the shield of the king. So his story is all about basically he wants to fight Gilgamesh, who is the first king of Lucius's bodyguard, essentially, and kind of like was the start of the whole King Shield thing, which I didn't even know until I watched the Arden anime episode they released a few weeks ago that's who Gilgamesh was.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
So,
just-
and again,
cool.
this is how like one of the big failures of the game is that to get the whole picture of the whole story, you have to have
everything.
yeah, you have to play all this stuff. It's cool as a concept, like interesting. It just didn't really work out. I mean, people would probably complain less if it had been like free DLC stuff, but having all this like paywalled content to understand the whole story is not exactly kosher. But yeah, so it plays more like an action game. You explore a giant dungeon, and it's very combat focused.
It's just him, and you get a little bit of core.
Yeah, and it's kind of like getting into Gladiolus, like a lot about like what his family thinks about like their role and that kind of thing. And it's more about he's kind of butthurt, for lack of a better term, because Lunafreya's brother has become like the imperial commander of the armies of Niflheim, the Empire, and he basically gets showed up by him at one point, and he's like, I gotta get stronger because he basically backhanded me and I could do nothing about it. So basically
He gets ruffle stomped.
Yeah, by going through the trial of Gilgamesh, he'll become stronger. So that's kind of his goal. It doesn't really give you, like, he just beats Gilgamesh. He doesn't really, like, you don't feel like you learned anything or, like, there's no, like, tangible proof that he's stronger, really, other than that he beat Gilgamesh and has, like, a sword.
He got a scar.
Yeah, he got a scar. He comes back and has a scar.
Gaspu. He's grown physically.
And my roommate's dog starts barking. Oh my gosh.
What? You talking shit about Gladiolus?
Gladio?
I come in there, mate. Swear me, mum.
Yep. So next we get Prompto. Prompto had lots of good character stuff in his story. Gameplay wise,
I think actually my least favorite gameplay wise.
Yeah, it's all right. It's fine. It's like third person shootery. It's just very repetitive is the problem.
Yeah. I just found myself like grabbing an AR or a rocket launcher whenever I could, and that was just how I played it.
Yep. So Prompto is his whole character personality is to be aloof and goofy and overly friendly. He has a complex kind of about
which actually
people not liking him.
The prequel anime also
his is my favorite episode of the prequel anime actually, because he was a little chubby boy as a kid, and he wanted friends and he really wanted to become friends with Noctis, so he worked hard to basically like build up the confidence to introduce himself to Noctis.
It was I was going to say this. Like, probably again, I actually have to agree with you guys. Like, probably my favorite one was that one, just because a lot of it was all self-doubt. It was all self-doubt. Him getting thinner, all of it kind of like meant nothing, because when Noctis was friendly to him, even when he was still fat and chubby, it didn't matter to Noctis at all. The only person that it mattered to was Prompto.
Yeah, and he got to meet Luna when he was a kid.
That's true.
Yeah, they actually he had a lot of his character growth, though. He actually got some good stuff in the actual game. That moment on top of the inn, with him and Noctis is really good.
Yeah,
and that's just like standard game stuff.
And I remember saying that.
Talking about.
I think when we were talking. You don't remember that, Meta?
I don't remember that scene.
Yeah, it's like a little side. There's like a certain chapter, I think, where you have to stay at the inn at the crossroads in the first zone, and Prompto will be like, "Hey, man, can we talk for a second?" And he'll go up on the roof of the inn, and he kind of talks about the kind of issues you have. He's like, "Am I like contributing to the team? Do you like me? Does everybody want me around?"
Holy crap, man! I think I missed this. I don't think I ever stayed at that inn.
Yeah, it's a really good moment, and I wish they had given them to all the other characters. Kind of
right.
I kind of wish those moments had been a little bit more as silly as it sounds, a little bit more forced. Like, go to this inn and at least sleep here for the night, or give like a story reason like why you should stay at that inn for the night, just so that you don't miss those moments. Because I had no idea.
I don't know what the trigger is. I'm not sure if it is a certain inn or not.
Yeah, it could not be, but
I mean, it might be staying at an inn as opposed to camping. I know it's definitely staying at an inn. I just don't know what
I definitely, I think I remember a scene with Noctis and another character at the camp.
There's one with Gladio where he's like, "We got to get up and train. Let's go run on the beach or whatever," and you go do that.
Oh, I don't remember that one at all.
Yeah,
you race him on the beach at the where you're supposed to take the boat to go to.
I don't think I remember that one either. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, that's
I think the only one
one
I recall even getting is the one with Ignis. And I think that was.
What's the Ignis one?
I don't remember. I just remember that that had a scene with Ignis specifically with Noctis and Ignis. The the one between Prompto and Noctis I remember was the one where you have the giant creature in the lake, and he wants you to take a picture of it. That's the scene I remember. But I don't remember this Gladios one or the.
Yeah, the Gladio one's pretty early. It's pretty funny. He's like, "You're always getting up way too late. You need to start running." He's like, he's gonna chew you out constantly, and stuff like that. So you have a little race with him, an in-game race. If you beat him, you get some experience, I think.
That's awesome.
But no,
okay. You do have to sleep at Old Lestalem after 3 or 4.
It's a good scene though, and it's basically foreshadows what you're going to get in the Prompto DLC.
Which it also ties a lot into his actual backstory from even before the anime.
So
like where he comes from.
Big spoilers. You don't want to get spoiled for a 2.5-year-old game. But so Prompto's whole thing is that he's basically an MT, which is a biologically created organism that the Empire manufactures and mass produces as their soldiers in war. So he's one that he was one that was going. I think the episode explains that he was one that was going to get killed. And who was it that basically got him? I can't remember.
Don't remember the name.
One of the characters helped him get over there. I feel like.
I don't remember. It's been so long
since
I played the game. Honestly, with all the updates, I think you going back and playing it again is probably one of the best things that could be done.
Yeah, they're clones of the one old guy, right?
Yeah, the Magitech research guy for the
Empire. Guy voiced by Steve Bloom is what I really remember.
He's in like one scene in the main game. So you go kill him. He's basically put himself into a giant spider. It's basically like a new weapon, essentially, the Empire's created. And that's cool, and you get lots of cool scenes with him and Aranea, where Aranea is like, you need to man up and stop. There's a lot of those scenes in this game where people like chewing people out for being too down on themselves and going, hey, you need to like...
You can feel sad about yourself and the world's not ending.
Pretty much. His is more of a third-person shooter-y style type of gameplay. Then we get Ignis DLC, which is objectively the best one. It has the best story stuff. It's got the alternate ending. Its kind of gameplay gimmick is capture zone-y kind of things, but they don't really matter that much. Like, a quest will be capture this zone, and you capture it, and the story progresses, but it tries to do stuff with the zone aspects. Basically, while Noctis is fighting Leviathan and Lunafreya is doing the ritual, the group gets separated, and Ignis has to go basically like get Noctis the heck out of there. And his whole story is just about him not abandoning Noctis, and he gets lots of great scenes with Arden and Lunafreya's brother. You actually get to party up with Lunafreya's brother. Like his story's really good in that. The gameplay is super fun as him because he basically, you fight with the daggers and you'll equip different elements on them and they'll have different effects based on if you have fire or blizzard or thunder on the daggers. Like one will be for single target, one's for crowd control, another one gives you more movement options and stuff. And I was like, okay, now this is like the action-y combat more so that the Gladiolus was probably trying to aspire to. It was actually really fun to play that one. I did a lot of just running around and just fighting people in his, just because I was having so much fun playing as him. And you can't really talk a lot about his stuff without spoiling the whole game, so I'm not really going to get into the story stuff. But yeah, his whole thing is about just his like kinship and brotherhood with Noctis and how he wants to look out for him and stuff. Yeah. And it just they do a really good job of deepening the connections. And at the heart of the game, that's kind of is the story of the game more so than the rest of it.
Right.
It is the character interactions. It's the best part of the game by far, and these do a really good job of developing that and kind of adding to it for the most part. They also add some combat, like you can actually play as the characters outside. When you beat their DLC, it unlocks their node on the Ascension grid. You can unlock it, and then you can switch to that character in the normal game and plays them. So it's really neat. Now, the sad thing is that we were going to get a lot more DLC for some of the other side characters who I wanted fleshed out. Luna Freya was going to get a DLC. Aranea was going to get a DLC. And Noctis was going to get a DLC. And we're only getting an Arden one.
Yeah, it's real sad. I really wanted Luna Freya and...
yeah, because they needed more screen time.
I would have liked to see a lot of the characters expanded because I think it would have really helped the main game in general. I think all the episodes involving the characters, regardless of how successful they are actually or not, would have been nice because unfortunately in the main game from the time playing it back then, you didn't always get a lot of those characters.
Nope.
Noctis, Ignis, Prompto, and Gladios were the only four that you really get a lot of understanding and time with because those are the people you end up playing the whole game with. But everybody else, where you could get some sense of empathy.
Yeah, Luna Freya really needed it the most.
Yeah,
she
desperately needed something, and it's a shame that she's not going to get that. She's always going to be kind of this character. It's like she clearly has a lot of presence and meaning, but we don't know what that is.
Yeah, we don't get to see her side of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Any development you want from her, and it doesn't even really give a lot to her, is the movie. So the I can't remember the name of it, but it's a lot about you get a lot about King Regis and a little bit more about her.
Yeah.
And you get to see Diamond Weapon, Kingsglaive.
Kingsglaive. Yeah.
The which I actually thought it wasn't that bad.
No, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's not bad.
It's got some cool scenes.
but yeah, it's a shame we won't get those. The Arden anime is actually really good too. It explains a lot about the lore of the world and the history of it, at least at the founding of the Kingdom of Lucius. You get a lot of
probably something that should have come out before.
Exactly. You get a lot of understanding of why Arden, because that was another big thing for me playing the game the first time was I didn't understand where Arden was coming from as much. I got, he explains why he is antagonistic towards Noctis, but you didn't really, and it does the trope where it's like, I have to fight you at your full power thing. Yeah. So I'm going to do this. Where you kind of understand more why that happened when you get the anime, and hopefully his DLC will add to that too, because it added a lot to him as a villain. It made him better. He was one of the weaker parts for me in the
my mind as to why he needed to fight Noctis, or what was it that Noctis was his enemy for what reason again? It's been so long in it, and I didn't really deep into it.
Basically, when Lucius was founded, the crystal chose the king. The choices were him and his brother. Arden was like a healer who wandered around and healed the Star Scourge from people. And it basically, the anime implies that as he was healing them, he was absorbing the Scourge into his body. And because of that, the crystal was going to choose him as the true king. And because he was going around healing people and absorbing the Star Scourge, which is the source of demons, I believe, in the world, the crystal basically rejected him at the last minute. and his brother tried to murder him, and his brother to usurp the throne essentially, and his brother also killed his betrothed, who was the Oracle at that time. So, yeah, so basically, Arden was cursed with immortality. He had to watch his brother steal the throne, at least in his mind, steal the throne. And Noctis is the direct descendant of that person. So he basically wants to kill that side of the family and get revenge on it and the crystal for.
Do they explain why he waited so long?
Yeah, like this is really weird. He waited so long.
Maybe the DLC will. I don't. The anime.
I can't remember if he was like tied up, basically, right? Like
it was there something that he had to do. Did he,
he may have been imprisoned or something. I can't remember if they mentioned that.
The crystal absorbs him. The problem is the game doesn't explain why the crystal absorbs him, really. It just is kind of a thing. That's probably, I'm guessing, maybe what Noctis' DLC might have done. It might have filled in some of the gaps in the time skip. That would have been nice.
Kind of reminds me of that scene from Monty Python where he's like, "She turned me into a newt. I got better."
Exactly.
It's kind of like that. It's like you just say it happened.
You just gloss over it. It's not important.
It's not important right now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Arden DLC might tell us why.
What
was going on with Arden for all that time.
Yeah, they wanted
to. Needs it.
They had to skip over him, like completely destroying Lucius, I guess. But, anyways, so I'm really looking forward to that. But again, it just reinforced that I just wish they would have waited like another year and a half and put all that in the main game. Because if they'd done that, I think it would be regarded by most of the fan base like has an okay opinion on it, but no one really comes out and says like it was an amazing experience or it was worth the wait.
I mean, it definitely has its issues.
It could have been with all the meat and the gaps filled that a lot of this stuff fills. Like the big thing I noticed story-wise was that in Chapter 13, you can not play as Noctis. You can play as Gladiolus and Ignis, and you get some more story stuff there. As they go through like different parts of the dungeon of Niflheim right there. So yeah, it just could have. It's just a look back of what could have been, and but replaying it was a very fun experience. I still really love the game. It's still like my third favorite Final Fantasy, just because I think it really does the character stuff better. Like the characters are feel like authentically close knit in a way that the other games don't. Like I actually believe they're friends, and you see their whole journey, and you get to live with it and go through.
They actually they get annoyed with each other.
Yeah, my favorite part is Gladio going in on Noctis on the train is just one of my favorite scenes. And I love a lot of people hate the mission in the swamp where you fought Marlboro.
Really?
Because they don't like having to wait for Ignis, but it's such a good mesh of like what's going on with the characters, with the story, and the gameplay.
Yeah, and if you run too far away, like you get shit on.
Yeah, Gladiolus will be like, well, perhaps His Majesty's royal procession can slow down a bit, or he'll like say stuff like that, and everybody tears into Noctis. That part of the game, and deservedly so. He's being a little shit.
Except Prompto, I believe, is still trying to keep the peace.
Yeah, he's trying to play Conciliator.
Yeah.
So I just love their dynamics. It was fun to replay through them again and like relive it, and it's a very flawed game, but I still love it. I still hold it in high regard. It's just not 6 or 9 level, sadly. It's just it's just because of everything around the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the troubled development.
Yeah, that is unfortunately a death knell for a game, no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm. But I'm still glad it had some success, and I hope really soon. I don't think we are, but I hope we see something about Final Fantasy 16 soon.
Yeah, probably not until after Arden comes out, at least.
Yeah, probably not. At least till around the time the first episode of the remake releases, the FF7.
Because FF7 has finally.
I want FF16. I don't want FF7 again.
Yeah,
that's just me.
I don't know how to tell you this, Obs, but
I know, but they got to make
more
money.
people do.
Man, there was a tech demo. What was it? I cannot remember the name. It was like Final Fantasy something.
Mm-hmm. But
it was like it involved Bahamut blowing a bunch of shit up. But I would love to see the game world that it came from. I wish I could remember it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Arden comes out on the 26th, so we'll find. I'll get that and play the last part.
Final Fantasy Agni.
Agni.
Huh.
Agni.
Agni Final Fantasy. I don't think I've seen that.
From 2012. Oh, really?
Maybe I have. No, I don't think I've seen that. I'll have to watch it here in a second. But yeah, that's my topic.
Yeah. All right. Am I doing the outro?
It's your year, Mal, are you?
All right. One moment.
He's got to pull it up.
All right. This has been episode 78 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of the Five Rings releases Monday. I don't remember. I don't think I'm supposed to read all of this. Okay. Well, we release on Monday mornings on iTunes, SoundCloud, and topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with full video releasing on Friday. We've got a Twitter. It's at Podcasts5R, and a Facebook at PSR Podcast. Or nope, P5R Podcast. It's on my third monitor, really far away from me. Yeah, check us out there. Meta's streaming at PS Overflow or PSO Flow?
PSO Flow.
Flow, yes. PSO Flow. It's a lot of DMC5 right now. You got any plans to move on?
I will probably move on eventually. Yeah. The last thing I really want to stream just like full on through will be Heaven and Hell mode, but that's with all the real life cutscenes put on instead. Because apparently they're very funny. I haven't had a chance to see them yet, so I'll just stream that, and then I'll probably move on from to something else because
What, you got anything lined up, or you just
wait for Sekiro, Mel? Or Meta. It comes out in like 2 weeks.
It might be Sekiro, but honestly, I might play Sekiro myself.
Oh god, it's next Friday.
As silly as it sounds, Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon is coming out.
Oh yeah,
game, and Lily and I are kind of jonesing to play.
Oh yeah, if you stream that, I'll definitely watch it.
So that's definitely something we're probably going to just play because it interests us. We've liked. I played the original Chocobo Dungeon years ago on PlayStation, and I enjoyed it. And I've kind of played it every now. I've played like the new one, I think, on the Wii, but that never really went anywhere. I kind of felt it was a bit too grindy. But this one, a chance to play like a 2-player again and have Lily play with me, that will be really fun. So,
all right.
What job are you gonna play?
I don't know. It kind of
Samurai.
Obviously, I'll definitely jump.
SWAT mage.
But I might play. I might actually try playing Dragoon as well because I do enjoy Dragoon. I might try Thief out. Thief can always be fun. They're generally got a lot of cool utility stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else to plug?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Catch y'all later.
Goodbye.